days where I feel like more in tune with myself and more like down to earth, I have the calm energy to just play, I guess, like thoughtful. And then I also don't do like stupid stuff in League and like can play like very strategic. And I don't get like so frustrated and stuff like this. But then there's some moments where I feel like really, like when I feel overwhelmed, I think in a weird sense, I then prefer stressful games. Which I don't really get why, because that doesn't really make sense, does it? But I don't know, like I might be autistic and maybe it has something to do with this, that I'm overwhelmed, but I can't really pinpoint the feeling. So I felt, yeah, actually, in that regard, it makes sense because I can't really pinpoint the feeling, but I feel sort of like jitty, and like there's like ants in my arms and stuff like this. Like really like I don't really want to say shaky, but maybe like a little bit shaky to an extent as well. Like just sort of like electrified or something. And it's usually when I feel like overwhelmed, like because it's more of like a symptom of stress, right? And then I play Valorant because or like more like stressful games because I don't like, if you would then play like a boring game, you would like really notice how it doesn't like match up with your energy sort of. And it would probably calm you down, but since I'm not really aware of these feelings in that moment, I just notice how it's not matching my energy. So I think in those moments I play more stressful games because it's more so like matching my energy. Like it's matching this like need to like move and kind of like this, yeah, more stressful attitude, I guess. I personally like a good mix. Sometimes I just need my cozy building games like the simulators or Stardew, but also don't have a problem with faster paced games. What I really can't do is watch a TV series or hear music when I play competitive games like Valorant. I don't know how people do that. I I um I personally notice how this with listening to music and like watching two series, like my vision of it has changed since I think that I might be actually like since I see it from like an autistic perspective. Because if I am autistic, which I don't know yet, but I'm being diagnosed, I notice that when I'm alone, I basically don't listen to music at all. And I don't talk much. I don't really talk to myself or anything. Which some people do if they're alone, right? To sort of like breach the silence because they can't help the silence. But I really noticed how I actually enjoy the silence because there's so much going on the entire time. Like even silence isn't silent. Like there's cars outside, there's people you hear outside who talk to each other, maybe like kids screaming from the playground. Then there's like people above us in the apartment, below us, next to us who do something. Like some person is maybe like working on the apartment and even drilling and stuff like this. Then there's birds and like all of these like animals outside, like cats, dogs. And so there's like a lot of noise basically the entire time. And it's like honestly borderline overwhelming the entire time. And I remember that like back then I was listening to more music on my own as well. Because I thought it's like I honestly like I sort of felt weird for liking silence and just doing everything in silence. Like I thought like, oh, like maybe that's why I'm depressed, you know? Like I don't know, like maybe this is bad actually. Like let me like because I noticed that I'm not like really I'm very like indifferent. I'm very content in these moments, but I thought that like indifference is more bad than good. Um So I thought like, okay, now I need to like sort of be happy. So I put on music and like try to like really go with the music and stuff like this, which was honestly like sort of exhausting. Um, but yeah, I just started to not listen to music and be fine with it because I noticed like, well, maybe I'm just like really overwhelmed and like not having music on is actually better for me in that moment. Because I even hear my steps, like I hear my like clothes moving when I move. I hear like the washing machine, the dryer, the fridge. I hear like when I use like cutlery and stuff, like all of this clinking, clanking sound and like all of this, right? So there's like a lot of stimulation the entire time. And when I don't do anything with other people, I just don't listen to music anymore. And I don't regret it at all. And I actually notice how I don't feel bad in these moments. I just feel like more calm. And yeah, I like very easily feel overwhelmed, I think, which absolutely makes sense from the standpoint of me might be being autistic because I'm very sensitive to sound, I'm very sensitive to image or light, I'm sensitive to emotions. I'm a very sensitive person to like basically anything. So I think like most of my life I've actually just lived in this like overwhelmed state. So now I'm sort of finding out what me not being overwhelmed is like who I am if I'm not overwhelmed. Yeah. Music is one of the best ways to influence your mood and give you energy. Yeah, sort of. But I think it's almost like I don't know how it is for normal people, but to me, it's almost like it overrides the energy I would naturally have, which I feel like actually is not always good. Like it's very easy to cope with music, which is good in some ways, right? But if you don't fix your issues because you always cope with music, it's bad. Um, it's good in moments when you like really do need energy and I don't know, because you just have to finish something on that day. But it's bad if you like then overdo it, right? Like it's still gonna make you like if you were exhausted before, like then you're gonna be like really exhausted. Which like you can do to some extent, but at some point it's gonna be bad. So it's I don't know, also it's making you like not or like to me at least, it's making me not listen to my own thoughts as much anymore. Like I feel like if it's like quiet outside and like if it's not it's never quiet outside, but like if I don't listen to music, it's like sounds which are more like they give less input as to like thoughts because they're so like normal, I'd say. Versus yeah, like music always has some type of message or mood or whatever, like it's reminding you of things or like putting you in a like a specific place to think about specific things, whatever. Um and I mean that's also because I'm like also sensitive to like the message in music, right? So I feel like to me sometimes it's like easier to like or like it's better in like a mental health aspect to not listen to music because then I'm actually in tune with the feelings I feel without overwriting these feelings by music. So yeah, I don't know how that is for normal people, but I don't know. And high security system test. Welcome to the stream. Isn't it like that we live in a very noisy moment in the world, especially when you live in a city, there's no moment of silence here. So we are used to it. And as we know, people don't like change. So the silence that occurs very rarely is a certain change to which the body reacts with aversion. They need to drown it out through music, for example. Yeah, I think definitely for some people that's definitely the case. Um I well like back then, right? Like that's sort of like what I noticed like too now because like back then I always lived in this like more overwhelmed state. And I definitely also had this aversion to silence and quiet. And also to like sort of like nothing happening. And I don't want to say like boredom, but like sort of boredom. Just like a lack of stimulation, like understimulation. Like I really didn't like understimulation. Because it made me tired. It made me like in touch with my body. And my body was tired because it was overwhelmed the entire time. So I didn't like to feel that way. So that's how I canceled it out. So I don't think this has to be the case for everybody, right? Like I don't think anybody who's like listening to music is like actually like drowning their own inner world and should like try not listening to music. But to me, I really noticed that there's like a big, like a sort of unexplainable big aversion to silence. Like I almost was scared of silence. Like it was like really uncomfortable for like no apparent reason. And now I do understand why, because it sort of showed me what I was ignoring the entire time, right? And now that I actually like started going to therapy and all of this stuff and like unpacked like a lot of bullshit, it's like I try to sort of like dive deeper into specific feelings and like why I feel them and try to get like sort of to the bottom of it. And with this one specifically, I just, like then I started noticing like actually I don't like stressful games, for example, because like just like that, but I like them because they don't make me calm. Like they don't underwhelm. Like they don't make me not feel overwhelmed anymore. And now I actually like when I play stressful games, I sort of like notice how stressed I am actually and how they overwhelm me. And for example, like how music overwhelms me and how anything already, like any sound in the world already and like the normal sounds you hear already kind of overwhelming. And I don't know, I think it's like really like it's really hard to explain it. I don't want to give a wrong image, but it's to me it really changed how I view this. Once I started to sort of like don't try to avoid the feeling, but try to find out why I feel that and be like more curious about it in a way, I guess. Which I did through therapy or like with therapist. But yeah, it's really interesting how it like how my perspective like absolutely changed about this. Yeah. And I think that's sort of like I don't know, I think it's really funny how you can be so sure of something and then later on you just realized you were talking so much bullshit. Like what's going on? Oh, the vacuum cleaner. Honestly, same. I need to focus on the game for that. I mean, if I play just another slasher or cozy game, I don't have a problem watching a TV series next to it because I don't need the focus. I just exist. Yeah, well, that makes so much sense for you, right? But like my interpretation was just entirely different. Like especially like back then, I was listening to so much like pumped up music while playing these games. Like I literally like because of the because of this need to like not be less overwhelmed and sort of like I just try to like listen to like especially energetic music. Like my stream playlist before was filled with like so much like high energy music. Like so many hits which are really like opinionated, loud, like have strong lyrics, have strong beats as well, like big bass, like, you know, like really strong songs. And then like all of these strong songs behind each other basically. And then also the stressful game to it. So like really just all of it. All of it in one basket, you know? And now it's like, I don't know, actually the playlist right now I don't enjoy too much. This one is, yeah, now now the songs and like everything is more like what I listen to most is more like this more peaceful, calm, happy songs. I don't know. Einnahmenlos. What? The Rolling Ramsey one is in the Tolkien chat now? The one from like I uploaded it also to like 7TV or something, right? Wait, I don't think it's 7TV. Which was it? Better Twitch TV or something? Yeah. Oh my god, that's so cool. Oh my god. I love that. Do you have like a clip of it or something? Or like, is it right now? I want to see that. Right now? Okay, let me... Oh, wait.
gewesen. Dann hatten wir Maokai Jungle und dann halt eben, Tristana Toplane
Wait,
oder
where is
Tristan
it?
Faye
Where is
Toplane,
it?
Tristana Midlane, Smolder AD Carry, wir hatten ja so viele AD Carries. Wir hatten teilweise 4 AD Carries pro Game. So hatten wir letztes Jahr eine Meta, wo
Oh, wait,
Nasus auf
do I
Support
even
und auf
see
Midlane
it?
gespielt wurde, weil die Idee war sehr simpel. Nasus, er äht und damit shreddet er mit seinem Spirit Fire die Rüstung weg. Das ist Buff deiner AD Carry, weil der halt gegen weniger Rüstung spielt. Und Nasus kann Point-Click W drücken und den Attack-Speed des gegnerischen AD Carries wegnehmen. Wir haben Nasus Support gesehen, wir haben Nasus Midlane gesehen, Nasus Toplane gesehen.
Do I see
Raus haben wir zum
them?
ersten Mal im Jungle letztes Jahr, weil halt so super viele AD Carries gespielt wurden. Auf jeder Rolle war AD Carries OP quasi. Sie haben diese Counterpicks.
I have to scroll a bit. Tell me. Oh. I can't, right? Because I'm like, I only joined now. There they know. No, I don't have them there. Wait. How do I add those though? Because usually like how do you make that? Like how do you get the get 70 and stuff, bro? How does that work again? Browser extension. Let me check. Oh my god, more tools? Extension manager. Find extensions. Is it 7TV or better Twitch TV? Okay. Okay, can you do it again? I see some of the emotes now, so if you do it now, then I'll know if it's like 7 to me or not. No, okay, it's not 7 to me, wait. Shit. Better Twitch TV. Add extension. I still don't see it though, where it's... Ah, allow for Twitch and YouTube, yeah. Probably need to reload. Yeah! Oh my god! Ah! Now we see it, guys! Oh my god! Oh! Now I'm using my own emote. The original. Oh, I need to be a follower for 7 more minutes. But that's so cool! Oh my god, I literally made that myself! And it's in like a stream of like 15k viewers. Oh my god. That's so cool! Oh my god! That's literally so sick! I wanna put my own emote in there. The OG. Oh my god. Thank you so much for telling me, Namlos. Oh my god. My own emote, bro. It's so sick. Yeah. Oh. Oh, that's from him. I was about to say, like, what am I doing right now? Oh, the UK in all languages. I didn't even know Tolkien dyed his hair. Or, like, bleached his hair. It's honestly, it makes him so much younger. Looks like a different person, that's crazy. But it's good for him. Looks nice. It was a week ago? Since a week it's been used? No way. I'm basically famous. I'm basically famous. Basically famous. Like, my emote is in Tolkien's chat. Yeah. Call me princess. I'm famous. Oh my god. Oh, the hair was a week ago? Oh, okay, I see. Oh my god, I love that. I think it hasn't been... What? Still 7 minutes and 8 seconds left? Oh no, okay, now it's 3 minutes and 2. I was about to say, like, what? Like, time is not passing. What's going on? Oh no. Oh no, no! My door was just... I'm gonna wait the entire 3 minutes or something, and then post my emote. Yeah. Well, I personally, I'm just like, I really like the mod pack, and I would really like to play more of it. But yeah, I'm sort of like lonely. So if you start playing it, that would be amazing, actually. Because I always lack the motivation to like play alone. I don't know. Or like, I don't feel like I really like spending time with people. So it's like whenever I play Minecraft, it's like I choose not to spend time with people, but to play Minecraft. So that's why then I usually just like never end up playing Minecraft. 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Silk Song. Oh, I haven't heard of that one. TFT walk. Okay, crazy. No, TFT is definitely like, I tried it so many times, but it's nothing for me. I don't know. Damn, bro, 115? Let me check if they use my emotes. They don't yet. They don't yet. Let me actually chill my emotes in this chat. Wait. Where's better Twitch TV? No, bro, they don't have it. Oh wait, but that's like some Twitch TV. I wanted like better Twitch TV. Why did they like leave? Anyway, then I use this one. I really wanted to use the better Twitch TV ones, but they don't have it, bro. My message is like gone, instantly gone. I don't even know where it is, bro. There it is, there it is. This is slow mode. This is not slow. Every message is like gone instantly. Yeah, my emote. 1 minute and 12 seconds, guys. 1 minute and 12 seconds. And then the people without better Twitch TV can see it as well. Oh, wait. I was about to say, like, I need to wait for a moment where Ramos pops up.
Nein, kein Backflip, er kann einfach rausrollen. Schön, das heißt einfach Gumado.
Oh my god!
Gameplay wurde bei noch Ramos gesniped. Alle wollen Ramos töten. Kommt gerade so rausgedriftet gegen Jack. Nice. Ja, guck mal, das ist das geile Matchup bei Andy gegen Jax. Jax kann einfach nichts tun. Er flasht uns. Oh, warte, er hat einen Stun. Actually.
Oh mein Gott.
Andy ist auch da. Oh, Aiming mit der Hilfe von der Seite. Andy ist dead. Mein Andy steht 1-3. Faker ist actually useless. Aber ich kann gar nicht, scheiß mal drauf, ich kann darauf nicht fokussen. Ich kann nur auf Ramos gucken. Alles, was ich sehe, ist Ramos. Und Timon spielt nicht mehr sonderlich seriös und auch ein bisschen for fun. Gerade mit den Engages.
Oh my god, I love that.
Ramos.
That's so cool. That's so cool. I'm so happy. Like, one of my emotes actually made it. Not because of my Ramos play, sadly, but you know, that's fine. That's fine. We sadly don't have like another Ramos emote though. If I would have like so many, that would be so cool. So, what were we doing, by the way? We wanted to play something, though. Actually, we can also talk about some of the, like, topics I had. We could talk about mentalizing, if you guys want to. It's a principle I learned about in therapy. Hi, Saul. How you doing? Welcome, welcome. Or should we hop into Minecraft? I'm down for it. For the topic of mentalizing or for gaming? I'm good. Thank you so much for asking. I've been gone for like 3.5 weeks at my family's, but honestly, it was really, it was like a little bit exhausting, but it was so much better than I anticipated it would go. And on one hand, I'm really happy to be back, but on the other hand, I'm also sort of like sad that, yeah, now my sisters are not here anymore and stuff. So, like, I don't know, it's hard to live so far away from your family, I think. Like, especially from my sisters. Because we're all like really, really bad at texting. And I don't know. Aww. I'm honestly, on one hand, like I'm sad, but I also, I don't know, I'm just so happy that it actually was good to stay with my family. Like, being sad is actually like a good sign. So I sort of like, I try to make it better in my head with that. But why are you sad? Also, like, why are you sad if you're getting your 3D printer today? That's so cool. What type of 3D printer are you getting? Like, is it like a filament one or one of those with, how's it called? With resin. It's a filament one. Ooh, okay, okay. I see. I'm honestly like, I'm not good with jokes. I like, since I'm like now in like autism diagnostics, I only notice now how actually bad I am with jokes. Like, there's so many jokes and sarcasm I genuinely get so confused by. And I only get through like context and like people's reactions and like body language if it actually was sarcasm or a joke and stuff. And so many times I just like still like, even though I guess could know or whatever, I just answer if it wasn't a joke. Like, they really like, they just fly by me. I don't know. But so that's why like there's differences between people talking sarcasm and don't like obviously mark it, and people who talk in sarcasm but they do mark it. Like, if you talk sarcastic and you're like a person who always, for example, uses like the 𝔹𝕃 or like 𝔹𝕃, like W emote or something like this, like after, then like your sarcasm is like really clear, right? Or if it's like so over the top that it's like obviously sarcastic, or if it's just like if your character is so like so good lined out in my perspective that it can make like this very good cut between like, okay, this needs to be sarcasm because he would never say that otherwise. But there's so many people who just don't fit in any of those categories, and then I get absolutely messed up in like, is this sarcasm? Is this not sarcasm? I don't know. Hi Layla, how are you doing? So let me actually, I really want to show you the mentalizing concept. So let me look that up. Let me look up the video my therapist showed me too. Okay, this video seems good, but I don't think that that was the video I thought. No. Ah, this is the one, right? Yeah. Okay. All right. So, I'm good. Thank you for asking, Layla. How are you? So, just gonna pause the music here for a second. Let's actually switch the scene for this. My PC is struggling so bad right now. It's like completely frozen. I can't do anything. But not really important thing. Okay, I think I shouldn't be clicking around and just let my PC cope for a second and get over it. Just waiting for the bus. How's the weather at your place? The reminder. I mean, yes, I can see that maybe I'm too obvious with the sarcasm, or you just know I do a lot, but for people you don't know what it's fair to say. Yeah. Like, even like, it's not only people I don't know, but like, I don't know, like even with Zach, like a lot of his sarcasm is not like clearly marked. And that's like making it like really difficult. My PC is struggling again. Okay, so now wait, do you actually see that normally? Ah, okay. So my Streamlabs was just frozen and that's why. But we fixed it. So yeah, but so for example with like Zach, it's like a lot of his sarcasm or like jokes are like I don't know, just like either really bad or or just not really cut to like Zach's sarcasm is about things he sometimes does seriously, and then in that situation he just is like, oh, but now it's sarcasm. And then it's like not clearly marked because he really likes this very dry type of sarcasm, like this British humor type of sarcasm. Which then basically leaves you to come across something he says with a serious tone, which he also did before, but is now apparently sarcasm. Yeah. So then I normally answer because and then he's like, what do you mean? That was like sarcasm. It's a joke. And I'm like, you did specifically this like a week ago. How is it a joke? Huh? I don't know. Huh? I don't get it. So, yeah. But to other people, maybe it's more obvious with him. I don't know if it's a me or him issue. So, mentalizing is a concept which is very important for everybody. And to me, like we came across it in a therapy. Oh, this was like a really dry cut, right? Like that's always what I do. Like, just don't bother. But like, conversation was done, new topic starts. So, this came up at a time where I still really struggled with sort of like my reaction to things and my emotions, like on understanding my emotions, understanding my emotional reactions, and yeah. And with this, my therapist was just like, hey, you know, there's this concept called mentalizing. And I think if you would watch this video, this would maybe like profit us in our sessions. So nowadays, I'm actually like, this wasn't too long ago, actually, which is underlining the fact that I might be autistic even more because once I understood the concept, I'm just using it. But mentalizing is basically important for like everybody in any type of conversation or relationship with a person to like, especially if you often feel like you're like in a hostile environment, or if you feel like unhappy in these like conversations or discussions, or just in general in relationships with other people. So I think we're just gonna go into the video, and if you have any questions, just text them and then we can pause, go along with them. But I think this is a really good concept.
Hi, I'm Janice Poplack, Director of Clinical Social Work at the Menninger Clinic. I'm here today with Dr. John Allen to talk about mentalizing. Dr. Allen is a senior psychologist at the Menninger Clinic and professor of psychiatry at the Baylor College of Medicine. Dr. Allen has lectured and written extensively on the subject of mentalizing. Thank you so much for being here.
Happy to be here.
Appreciate it. And I have a lot of questions about mentalizing.
Okay.
Mentalizing actually seems like a new word. What does it mean?
Well, it's interestingly, actually, it's 2 centuries old, the word, but it's a rare word, so lots of people haven't heard of it. No wonder you're asking about it. Basically, mentalizing refers to being aware of what's going on inside yourself and other people, being aware of your thoughts and feelings and the thoughts and feelings that other people have. And it's a little confusing because it sounds like a technical, esoteric thing, mentalizing, but basically it's something that we all do naturally, except we don't always do it so well. And of course, with psychiatric disorders, they really get in the way of mentalizing. That's why we pay so much attention to it.
Well, it sounds like it might be quite a bit like mindfulness.
Well, it is a lot like mindfulness. The way I think of it is that really you have to start with mindfulness if you're going to mentalize. And mindfulness means you're being attentive to something. So you could be attentive to paying attention to a flower or paying attention to your breath. But when you think of mindfulness being mindfulness of what's going on in your mind or someone else's mind, then you're in the territory of mentalizing. But it's more than just paying attention to what's going on inside yourself or inside someone else. So for example, if suddenly we're sitting here filming and I bolt out of this chair and run out of the room, what would go on in your mind?
Well, I think first I'd be concerned about what's going on with you, and then I would probably try to figure out what it is. Something that's happened.
Right, so that gets to the mentalizing piece. First you're aware of what's going on, and then you're trying to understand it, come up with some kind of explanation or some story about it. So what do you think, the story, what would you create? What would be the story?
Maybe you had gotten ill suddenly or something like that.
Yeah, or panicky or something like that. So that's the mentalizing piece. Let me give you another example. So what if you're sitting there interviewing me, your heart starts racing? What would go on in your mind?
Well, I would wonder why all of a sudden am I nervous? Might be these cameras here.
Yeah, okay. So you'd be mindful in the sense of paying attention to your heart, maybe starting to think, what are you feeling, and then what the reasons for your feeling. So that puts mindfulness and mentalizing together.
Well, how is that different than empathy?
Well, again, it's quite similar. If you think about empathy, refers to being aware of what somebody's feeling and concerned about it, compassionate about it. Or even more broadly, empathy means you kind of put yourself in their shoes, so you have a sense of what's going on in their mind. So what I like to say, if patients are confused about what mentalizing means, I think about empathy, but also include empathy for yourself. And why I like the idea of mindfulness is that it implies that while you're trying to pay attention, be aware, and understand, you have this kind of non-judgmental attitude, curious about what's going on inside yourself and others.
But why would this be important?
Well, a couple of reasons. First, mainly, in order to have relationships go well, we need to mentalize. We need to have some sense of what's going on in the other person and ourselves. And we're really interested in relationships that can provide a sense of security and comfort in the face of distress, since we're working with people who are in major distress. So we think about secure attachment relationships, where you're really connected to the other person. Because in order to have that feeling of connection and security, really you have to have a sense that this other person is attentive to you and has some understanding of what you're distressed about. The other thing about mentalizing is it does include this empathy for yourself. Self-awareness. So in order to be aware, self-aware, we need to mentalize. And if we come back to relationships, you need to be self-aware and be able to mentalize in order to communicate with the other person what is going on with you, what you need, what you're troubled about, so that they can mentalize and understand.
So what gets in the way of mentalizing?
Well, most obviously strong feelings. So for example, if you're afraid, you're not going to be so curious and interested about what's going on in the other person. You're going to really think about protecting yourself. So you kind of get concerned with your own welfare. And
Are you still like everybody gets it so far? I feel like maybe talking about it for a second is good to make sure that we also take everything away from this video. But I think so far it's it's presenting like a very easy concept, right? Like a concept which seems, yeah, like you also said, like natural to everybody. Right? And we definitely like do this the entire time. I think I do. Up to this point, like the concept of empathy. Yeah. I think the concept of empathy is honestly like a little bit, I feel like mentalizing, like empathy is more, like to me at least, empathy is more of like a feeling, where mentalizing is, to me, also including that the story you write for the other person is like that you're aware of the story coming from you, kind of, and then it's like one possible outcome, but might just be like a different one as well. Like to me, mentalizing is also taking this concept of this is somebody who could think that, but also can think something else, like that it's like your perspective. Also into it. Where empathy is more of like a thing you just like feel or you sort of don't feel. But mentalizing is like the thing you then like actively do with the empathy. Yeah. Like the usage of empathy. Yeah. And what I had to think about actually when they now brought up like what gets in the way of mentalizing, right? Like strong emotions, fear, anger, shame. And this gives a very new, or like not really new perspective, but a more detailed and I guess professional perspective on the issues we face in our society right now, right? Because whether you are like right wing or left wing, like whatever your political stance is at the moment, I think a thing we can all agree on is that the situation right now on the world is like very tense. Like it's very scary for like multiple different people and for multiple different reasons. And it's like there's so much going on. You always hear like bad news. You always like there's always more stress and things happen and they get interpreted in any way possible. And there's also more, yeah, I guess just more anger of like things going wrong and things not changing, and it gets like more and more extreme at the moment. I feel like the last few years has been sort of like this process of everything getting even worse, sort of. Like this is like feminism before was like a topic where we had protests, we had like informal and educational events and stuff like this, but now it feels like feminism all of a sudden feels like more different because now with, for example, America and stuff like this, we feel more like on edge. Like now it's not just fighting for like a better future, but it's fighting for the rights we once had and now are actually being taken away. So everything, and I think this is probably also the same way people maybe from the right feel that like it gets just like this fight we're in or the progress we're trying to make feels like it's more necessary than before. Like it feels more desperate, sort of, and like you're being sort of pushed into a corner. Like there's definitely more fear and anger. And there's also a lot of shame. If you don't understand any of these perspectives, then you're like an outcast. Like these different sections of people, like it's getting from this more grayish perspective, it's getting more to like a black and white perspective at the moment. So there's a lot of shame. Like if you're not black and you're on the white side, then you don't get this perspective and there's a lot of shame, and the other way around the same. So it's like very black and white for like all types of different topic, like democracy versus, or like not democracy, but well, technically, but the Democratic versus the Republican, for example, or like the feminists versus the, yeah, I don't even know how they call themselves, but not feminists, I guess. So there's like a lot of shame as well. And I feel like what this video now is actually underlining is that this whole concept of mentalizing, even though it's so important for normal human relationships and also for like self-awareness, is actually way harder in these times today because of so much fear, anger, and shame. And because we have so many negative news, which really put us in this place to feel a lot of fear, anger, and shame. And that really puts us all into the place of having or like struggling with mentalizing more than before. And I guess we sort of see that also, like there's this how do you call that? There's a lot of controversy about the death of this right-wing advocate. I think he's called Charlie Kirk. And I don't know too much about the incident. I just know that he was basically being gunned down while some event of his. And he had a family and all. But he was like very right-wing, like very racist and whatever, say the left. And the right, of course, are standing behind him, like he's putting himself on the line for us. And there's been a lot of controversy around the reaction to his death, basically. So there's been some left activists who I actually don't know his name, but there's this guy who makes like basically like who has this stream and everything where he talks about where he tries to, I guess, confront and educate right-wing people. And he in his stream he cried about the death of Charlie Kirk, and this got actually like a huge backlash because people then didn't trust him sort of anymore, and were like, well, but like you never cried for the Palestine and whatever, like you're apparently like you're not actually left, you're just like like why you so, they basically shamed him for this reaction, for like a higher reaction to like a right-wing person dying who caused like so much distress in their community specifically, and not having the same reaction to for example, Palestinians dying. And I don't really want to get into like what is right and what is wrong about this, but more of that there's this very big difference in how the community feels about this. And there's a lot of people actually sort of celebrating this death of this person, which is, well, not really showing empathy. And this is sort of the point where I want to get through that, because of these strong emotions like fear, anger, and also shame, there's probably a lot of left people who feel like maybe they need to do that because otherwise they will be shamed. But there's a lot of people who, because of their fear and anger, are put in such a mental state that they don't really have empathy for the other anymore, because it's more of this like survival mechanism of like, I need to survive on my own, so I don't have so you just like naturally you don't feel as much empathy. Like it makes a lot of sense, like bodily, right? Because like if you're in like a fight for life and death, you shouldn't really care about if like the other person you need to kill to survive has family. Your body actually just wants you to think of yourself. And so we see this on like on like the whole board, like not only on the right, not only on the left, not only in like, for example, like queer influencers, when like somebody
であるからして、我が国では獣人差別を禁じているのです。 やおや、お兄様方だ。声をかけたら、きっと一緒に遊んでくれますよ。近くに寄るな。誰もお前と遊ばない。俺たちも父上も、みんなお前が嫌いだ。囚人。助けて！夢。とにかく落ち着かないと。𝔹𝕃ℂ𝔻がくれた花。そうだ、キス。分かっていたのに動かなかった。僕のこと嫌いなのに成人の花をくれた。あの表情が頭から離れない。経験がないから意識しちゃってるだけだ。大嫌いって言われたのに。昨日の祭事はいかがでしたか？獣人の子供も花を贈ったとか。はい、大きな花を。クラーク卿？いえ、すみません。実は領地でまた問題が。急ですが、おそばを離れます。大丈夫ですか？アシェル様が心配なさるほどでは。それでは失礼いたします。最近少し距離を感じる。なんでだろう。せめて見送りに行こう。殿下、お出かけですか？なんでここに？直属護衛なので。急に𝔹𝕃ℂが来るなんて、心の準備が。アシェル王子、本日もお美しい。あれ、どうしました？アシェル王子、クラーク卿の見送り、フォローついてきて。護衛はルイスが。𝔹𝕃ℂは待ってて、すぐ戻るから。殿下。昨日𝔹𝕃ℂと何かありましたか？違うけど。ねえ、恋ってどんな気持ちになるの？まさか誰かに恋を？前に恋愛は練習が必要って言ってたじゃないか。練習はいらないけど、どんなものかは聞きたいっていうか。油断してた。まさか𝔹𝕃ℂに。クラーク卿と母上、廊下で話してる。ウォード、ちょっとこっち。なぜ隠れるのですか？いや、なんとなく。二人はいつもあのように会話されてるのですか？いや、僕といるときは、妙に距離が近い。なんだか嫌な予感がする。殿下に避けられている。殿下、菅井のせいだと分かっているのに苦しい。祝いの日に謝る王子が気の毒で、少しでも休ませてやりたかった。それなのにまた謝らせて、そんな顔をさせたかったわけじゃない。どうすればいいかわからない。拒絶か受容か、どちらが哀れで悲しいのか。愛しさに抗えない俺のつがい。認めてしまえば楽なものだな。ただそばにいられるだけで幸せだ。結ばれなくてもそばで全てから守る。ただいま。ブラウン、殿下はどうしたんだ？さあね、あとよろしく。先ほどは何か問題が。言ってたじゃないか。僕のことが大嫌いだって。あれは失言でした。殿下を好ましく思っていなかったのは本当ですが、ここ最近の殿下は間違ったことなどしていません。
僕が聞きたいのは、なんでキスをしたのかってこと。
唇を塞ぎたいと思いました。はじめは、殿下の唇を塞ごうと体が動きました。昨日は、もう一度、唇に触れたいと思ったからです。殿下はなぜ逃げなかったのですか？
あの時、僕は逃げなかった。嫌じゃなかったから。
こうして手に触れるのも嫌ではありませんか？頬に触れるのも
嫌じゃない。セオドアが好きだ。もっと触れてほしい。怖いのに近くにいてほしい。セオドアも僕を好きならいいのに。
申し訳ありません。また勝手に触れて。
待て。セオドアは嫌じゃないの？僕にこんな風に抱きつかれて。
私から触れたのになぜ？
嫌いだって。
今は違います。あなたは変わりました。あなたは以前のあなたじゃない。
誰も気づいてくれないと思ってた。悪行の記憶だけがあって罪悪感で苦しくて、謝っても済まないのは知っているからこそ救われなくて。ごめんなさい。ごめんなさい。本当は許してほしい。助けてほしい。ごめん。
また許しもなく申し訳ありません。
謝らないで。
なら殿下も謝るのをやめませんか？
何それ、変なの。今日はいろんなことがあったな。
静かに王子様。
誰？押さえつけられてて動けない。隠し扉は王族しか知らないはずなのに。
うわ！殿下！動けば王子の首を折る。殿下を離せ。黒騎士セオドアだな。お前虎の獣人を殺さなかった。まさか。王族の馬車襲撃の時殺された虎の獣人はこいつの兄貴だ。一瞬で殺すなんてもったいない。連れて行くぞ。そうだ、楽になんて殺さねえ。目的は王子だってが一石二鳥だ。暴れたら王子を殺す。
セオドア。これは子供の頃のアシェル。兄上たちには憎まれて、父上も僕なんてどうでもいい。獣人は人を食べるし、戦争を仕掛けてくる野蛮な生き物。みんな僕のことが嫌いなんだろう。僕もみんな嫌いだ。僕が王様になって見返して獣人だって追い出してやる。そうしないと僕は殺されるって聞いたんだ。誰がそんなこと。僕だって仲良くしたかったの。獣人が僕を食べようとする夢を見る。どこにいても怒鳴り声が聞こえる。怖い。イライラする。何も考えたくない。僕の声を誰も聞いてくれない。
いい加減にしろよ。そいつ死んじまうぞ。頭に黙って誘拐だけでも怒られるのに。
荷馬車の中、セオドアは。
アジトに着いたぞ。 頭にどう説明するか考えとけよ。
これはどういうことだ。なぜここに第三王子を。むやみに動くなと言っていたはずだ。こいつは何だ。黒騎士セオドアだよ。王子をさらうとき鉢合わせたんだ。余計なことを。
こいつは兄貴を殺した。
やめろと言ったのに勝手に実行した。自業自得だろうが。連れてきちまったなら仕方ねえ。ようこそアシェル様。こっちへ来い。今までお前が獣人に何をしてたか、ここにいる奴ら全員知ってるんだぜ。みんなお前に会いたかったんだ。
アート、そいつらは
第三王子だ。バルフたちが勝手に誘拐計画を実行した。
まだ調査中だったのに。
誘拐できたんだから文句ねえだろ。
バカなことを。
二人とも黙れ。
殿下、私のそばに。
セオドア。
お前はこれから拷問だ、黒騎士セオドア。
拷問なんてアートが許すわけないだろ。アート？
そいつはガランを殺し、戦で奴隷兵の獣人もたくさん殺したんだ。ギャランもかわいそうだろ。わかった。だが殺すな。
俺たちが人間をなぶるときどうすると思う？手足を裂いてやるんだよ。そら！
やめて！お願い！やめさせて！
腕を引きちぎってやる！
やめて！あれは正当防衛だった。僕ら王族を守るために殺すしかなかったんだ。
殿下、下がって。だからなんだ。
火力を楽しんでる。理由なんてどうでもいいんだ。前世で僕をいじめてきた相手と同じ。怖い。でもなぜ僕は逃げないんだろう。僕を守るためにあなたの兄弟を殺した。
殿下、おやめください。
セオドアを助けるためだから。僕のせいであなたの兄弟が死んだってことだ。
言われてみれば悪いのは王族だ。やめろ、殿下に触るな。俺がお前の兄弟を殺した。
あとやめさせて。完全に戦争になる。
確かに最近の調査では獣人に優しかった。だが過去の事実は変えられない。獣人嫌いの第三王子。獣人を鞭打つのが大好きだそうだな。些細なことで罰を与えていたと。今まで自分がしてきたことだ。
殿下！
代わりにお前の騎士を鞭打ちしてもいいぞ。
自分の罪は自分で償うべきだ。
やめろ、離せ！
セオドアは関係ない。
あの王子が騎士をかばう。バルフ！王族の人間をなぶれるなんて二度とないだろう。
なんてことを。
バルフ、なぜ勝手なことを。王子を誘拐した時点で無事じゃ済まねえよ。もともと暗殺予定だった。殺してもいいはずだ。
俺のつがいに何をする！
転生しても嫌われ王子だったので、関係修復頑張ります。に。
腕に噛みついてきやがった。抑えろ。なんだこいつ、人間じゃねえ。お前、人間と獣人の根血か。
まさか俺の使いを傷つけた奴は殺す。
つがいだと。
もう傷つけないでくれ。代わりに俺が何でもする。頼む。つがいを目の前で鞭打つなんて残酷な。
つがいは自分の命より大切な存在。だからお互いを守ろうとして。
つがいの絆を汚すなんてできねえ。
何言ってやがる。嘘かもしれないだろ。
人型の根血が重化するなんて普通ありえない。つがいの危機に獣の血が目覚めたとしか。さあ、あんたも手当てを。
待て。そいつは俺の腕を噛みちぎろうと。
いい加減にしろ。もう捨てていっとく。
くそ、やらされるぞクラキシャー。
あんたと王子も手当てしたら牢屋に入ってもらうよ。
重化で伸びた爪が元に戻りかけている。怪我もほとんど。まるで化け物だ。でか
セオとは怪我は。
私の怪我などそれより天下は
大丈夫。
守れなかった。
どっかで見た顔だな。あ、ノトビスの森にいたディアースの騎士か。
ノトビス採集のお前も捕まったのか。
バカ言うな。こっちとら仕事だよ。
人間なのに従属と手を組んでいるのか。
利害が一致すればな。誰でもそうだろう。おい、もう行くぞ。はいはい。それじゃ幸運を祈るぜ。
王族しか知らないはずの通路、なぜ従属に漏れた。利害が一致すれば王族に手引きした者が。殿下がいなくなることで誰が得をする。王太者と王妃は対立しているが、サミュエル王子なら正面突破するだろう。
低能な獣人にも困ったものだ。まさか君まで連れてくるとは。
クラーク公爵、なぜここに。まさかあなたが従属に情報を漏らしていたのか。
クラーク卿、どうして。
お目覚めかな、私の傀儡。やはりしばらくランダリムを口にしなかったからか。すっかり効果が切れたようだ。
ランダリム、以前のアジェルが好きな紅茶。
催眠効果のある特別な茶葉ですよ。
どういうことだ。
幼い頃から飲ませ洗脳したのです。王や兄弟への疑念、獣人への恐怖と憎悪を、幻覚、幻聴、情緒不安定。実に滑稽でいい実験台だった。
子供の頃の悪夢、思い出せなかった昔の記憶、思考を、感情を殺されていた。なんでこんなことを。
お前があの女の大事な息子だからだ。あの女に大事なものを奪われたなら私が逆に奪っても構わないだろう。
母上が何を。
前王妃フレッド様はアンジェラのせいで死んだ。だから大事な子を壊して無残に殺すとフレッド様に誓ったのだ。殿下は洗脳し直すとして黒騎士は邪魔だな。死ね。久しぶりに名を口にしたな。フレッド様、それはロケットペンダントですか。
ああ、俺の国では愛する者同士、互いの絵姿を身につけて共に生きる証にするんだ。
ロマンチックですね。では陛下も
さあ、ペアのペンダントがどうなったのかわからないな。
けてくださってますよ。
そうだといいよな。こう産めば、俺は死ぬかもしれないそうだ。
それは、
生き残っても、もう子供は望めない。だから、新しい妻をめとるんだとさ。世継ぎは一人じゃいけないからって。
それでも、王のお心はフレッド様のものですよ。
妃候補は、アンジェラ姫だ。
フレッド様の国の敵国の姫。
よりによって、なんで、生き残っても、愛する人が誰かと肌を重ねるのを、黙って見ている生活なんて。
フレッドが死んだ。フレッド様。
失礼いたしました。
なんだ、今の次女は。
容体は安定してたのに、なぜ、突然苦しまれて、どうして。
ご成婚おめでとうございます。
アンジェラ王妃、万歳。
彼女はあの時の。なぜ姫が次女のふりを。まさか別人だろう。調べればすぐにわかることだ。ない。あの日立ち会った者の記録が全て。
アンジェラ王妃が処分してしまったんだ。
アンジェラ様、義母なのに王子を抱いているところを見たことがないわ。陛下、私の子を王太子にしてほしいのです。
あの日紛れ込んだ理由、証拠の隠蔽、安定した容体からの急な苦しみと死。この女がフレッド様を殺した。長かった。仕事だ。行け。
アシュル様。
ダメだ。混乱してる。母上のことは、飲まされていた麻薬みたいなもの。クラーク公爵の裏切り取った恨み。セオドアも殺されちゃう。あの時、聞こえてた。
え？
僕がつがいって本当？つがいとかよくわからない。でも僕もセオドアが大事。危険な目に遭ってほしくない。セオドアが好きだよ。だからお願い。僕を置いて逃げて。
そんなことできるわけがない。
一人ならきっと逃げられる。つがいを置いてくはずがないって油断してる。
当たり前だ。天下を置いてなんて俺はどこにも行かない。
セオドアが殺されるなんて耐えられないんだ。
俺のことなんてどうでもいい。天下が無事でいることが。
僕だって同じだよ。
それでも置いてはいけません。
お楽しみのところ悪いんだが、まさか本当にできてるとは報告するべきか。アシル様、ご無事で何よりです。
なぜ戻ってきた。
必ずお助けいたします。しばしのご辛抱を。
一体何者なんだ。
兄君の配下です。身分を偽り従属と接触しておりました。殿下の捜索のためここに来てみたら案の定でしたね。救援を呼びましたのですぐに助けが。
お願い、今すぐセオドアを助けて。黒幕はクラーク公爵なんだ。セオドアが邪魔だって。公爵が先に戻ってきたら殺されちゃう。お願いします。セオドアを助けて。
アシル様、おやめください。鍵を探してまいりますから。
ありがとう。名前は。
ただの森人です。
天下がひざまずくなんて。
セオドアを助けてもらえるなら、何でも何度でもするよ。僕ね、ずっと不思議だった。 僕は獣人を憎んでないし、嫌いでもない。なのにどうして獣人にひどいことをしてきたのか。差別禁止なのに、獣人を嫌う理由。記憶はあっても、その時の感情は思い出せなくて。操られていたんだね。僕がしたことに変わりはないけど。
殿下は被害者です。
でも、僕が。
子供だったあなたに何ができたでしょ
う。森人が戻ってきた。
殿下。
早く鍵を。甘い香り。これって、ランドリー。
動くな！
殿下！
こんな首、簡単に折れる。
殿下を離せ！貴様、何しに来た？
お前を殺したい奴から今すぐ殺すお許しをもらったんだが、苦しみ抜いて絶望してから殺してやらなきゃ気が済まね
え。注射？何？
獣人用の発情剤だ。はらむほど種付けしてやる。
殿下に触るな！殺してやる！殺してや
る！ざまみろ！殺せるもんなら殺してみろよ！大事なつがいも守れない役立たず！楽しませてもらうぜ。
待て！
アートもクラークも俺を侮りすぎだ。誰が命令に従うか。好きなようにするんだ。誰の言うことも聞かねえ。
殿下！
セオドア。
俺をここから出せ！誰か！
おい、何されるか聞いてただろ。
気持ち悪い。
さすがに獣人用は効き目が強すぎか。
やだ、体が動かない。
小さい尻だな。俺のじゃ壊れちまうかもな。
やだ、助けて、セオドア。
おい、何やった？殿下はどうした？連れて行かれた。早く助け！殿下！おい、嘘だろ、待て！どこだ？どこにいる？そこか！黒騎士、なんで？この殺してやる！
黒騎士、バルフを離し
ラシル様！さあ、行くぞ！よし、この馬を使えばいい。ノトビスの森に逃げ込め。まっすぐにした一番でかいノトビスの近くに隠れ家がある。お前は捜索隊に砦の内部を案内する必要がある。すぐ行くから二人で隠れてろ。わかった。ここか。ノトビスの木で作ったのか。殿下、すぐに手当てを。
やだ。
大丈夫です。殿下。
助けて、セオドア。
大丈夫。大丈夫だから。目の前にいる。アシル。
なんだここ。何もない闇。ねえ、どうしたの？君は。僕はアシル。過去のアシル。こっち来て。人間って防衛本能が強いんだって。知ってた？時に自分自身でも説明できないことを起こすんだって。 現実逃避に人格を作って人が変わってしまうこともあるらしいよ。まあ、僕たちは違うけど。でも、もう君は大丈夫。助けてくれる人もいるし、もう自分の心を保つことができるはずだよ。
大丈夫。
ちゃんともう、本当の僕の声は届くはずだ。
前世の僕。殿下、落ち着きましたか？
瀬尾と、ここ、胸に歯が発情剤を打たれたあの後、あいつに。
すべて無事とは言えませんが、殿下が心配しているような真似はさせてません。
そう。でも、こんな。恥ずかしくて死にそう。急に何を。傷がセオドアに舐められたら消えた。庭園での指の怪我、あの時もすぐ血が止まって。
つがい同士は互いを癒すと聞いたことがある。失礼をお許しください。
セオドア。
俺は一つもお前に傷を残したくない。
これは治療で変な意図はない。なのに声が。体が熱くて。セオドア、なんで僕の足。さっきの。怖いよ。
申し訳ありません。殿下。無事だったか？
すぐにサミュエル様と合流できたからな。今頃一網打尽だ。
クラークは
あの殿下が見逃すものかよ。アシュラ様は
まだ薬で苦しまれている。
お前ちゃんと抱いてやらなかったのかよ。
抱くわけがない。
つがいなんだろ。身分違いでも愛人にはなれるし、抱いちまえばよかったのに。ああ、もったいねえ。
黙れ。ゲスな考えで殿下を恥ずかしめるな。
あ、お前自分の股間確認したか？そんなに追っ立ててよく言うぜ。
では、
なんだ、どうした？
お前の言う通り、ゲスは俺の方だ。
お前、アホなのか？俺はつがいとか知らんが、好きな奴の裸見て興奮するのは普通なんじゃねえの？ま、痛々しい姿に興奮する趣味は俺にはないけど、脱会しよう。
そんな趣味などない。何より大事なのに、俺はひどいことを。
待て、なんだよ。おい、落ち着け、どうした？
つがいの体から自分のものではないオスの匂いがすることが、許せなくて上塗りした。守るべき存在なのに、内心嫉妬でドロドロで、怖い目にあったつがいを怯えさせて、泣かせて。俺は、つがいなのに。
転生しても嫌われ王子だったので、関係修復頑張ります。に。
賊をすべて捕らえよう。A 君に殺さないよう気をつける。サミュエルさん、見ていただきたいものが。ここで何か実験をしていたようで。なんだこれは。これは被験体に10年間継続服用をさせた薬の作用の記録である。洗脳方法や精神の変化、被験体の操作方法、副作用による体と精神への支障。被験体アシェル・ディアース。人体実験。 クラーク、貴様、あのおぞましい記憶はこんなことならさっさと殺してしまえばよかった。どこまでも邪魔な第三王子め。賊どもを城へ送れ。逃亡者はその場で腕を切り落とせ。
あれ、城の僕の部屋。
アシェル様がお目覚めに。皆様に知らせてまいります。
アシェル、熱は下がったか？
サミュエル兄上。母上は真っ先に来ると思ってたのに。
ひどく取り乱していて今は合わせられない。大変だったな。
どうしてこんな露骨に親しげなこと今までなかったのに。ヒューゴ兄上まで来るとは。
安心しろ。犯人は皆処刑してやるからな。
処刑？
そろそろ時間だ。ゆっくりしていろ。何も心配はいらない。
待って。ウォード、裁判って。
ああ。クラーク公爵と従属たちの公開裁判です。
公開裁判。罪人が裁かれ処刑される姿を国民に見せて戒めとする実質死刑が決まっている裁判。僕も行く。
丸2日意識不明だったんですよ。アシェル王子、人の話を。
瀬尾とは。
お前も止めろ。王子を頼んだぞ。俺は王太子の護衛に戻らないと。
僕も行く。
ですが
僕は当事者だよ。
わかりました。
城内不法侵入と第三王子誘拐殺害未遂、一連の事件の死亡者クラーク公爵と共謀した従属たちの裁判を始める。
囚人が王族殺し？よりによってディアースの恩をあだで返すなんて。なんてことをしやがった。殺せ殺せ。
みんな静粛に。
申し訳ありません。遅れました。
アシェル、休んでいると言ったはずだ。
サミュエル兄上。でも当事者の僕が欠席は。それに処刑なんて。
王族殺害未遂だぞ。当然だろ。
アシェル、もう体はいいのか？
はい、父上。
そうか。続けよ。クラーク公爵を前へ。
王妃はどこにいらっしゃるので？隠し通路を教えていただいたお礼を申し上げねば。おかげで無事に誘拐できました。
ありえぬ。そんなたわごとを私が信じるとでも？
王妃の悪事に気づけぬ節穴め！アンジェラが前王妃フレッド様を殺したというのに。フレッド様は王妃が次女に紛れ込んで
アンジェラがフレッドだと何を言うかと思えば、なんと愚かな。
私はこの目で見たのだ。お産の時フレッド様の近くに次女姿で、その後にフレッド様は亡くなったのだぞ。
アンジェラが殺したところを見たのか？
それは
そもそも体が弱く出産に耐えられないことを本人も知っていた。勝手に死ぬ者を殺す必要などあるのか？まさかそんな思い込みでアシェルを。時間の無駄だ。全員処刑せよ。
何を？全員構え。
待ってください。まだ話を全部聞いていません。
動機は分かっただろう。愚かな勘違いだ。
でも従属が加担した理由を聞いていません。
クラークにそそのかされて金にでも目がくらみ利用されたのだろう。
だからといってこれだけの人が釈明もできず殺されるのですか？
どんな理由でも王族殺害を企てた時点で死罪だ。
分かってる。でも納得できない。何か反論しないと。このままじゃ
陛下、何を考え訴えたかったのか 殺したら永久に分かりません。
ジェフリー、お前まで何を？
一番の被害者が望んでいますから。
従属の狩猟の口輪を外せ。
ありがとうございます。
殿下、後ろに。
瀬戸が下がって。
しかし。
確か、アートさんでしたよね。あなたの話を聞かせてください。うなずいてくれた。
好きで族になったわけじゃない。人間に騙されて破滅した者や脱走奴隷ばかりだ。差別や偏見で居場所がなくて生きるために必死だった。従人が真っ当に生きていけるこの国は希望。だが無限に難民を受け入れることは不可能だろう。助け合って何でもしないと捕まるか死ぬ。
古くから世界中で続く根深い従人差別。全ての従人がこの国へなだれ込めば均衡が崩れて戦争が起こる可能性もある。ならなんでこんなことを。
あんたが王になったら希望はついえる。従人嫌いの第三王子。大丈夫なのか？
ひどい折檻を受けた従人もいるって。
王族なのに従人差別を。王太子派と王位を争ってるんだろう。王になったら従人差別禁止を撤廃するとクラークから聞いて。だから俺たちは
操られていたとはいえ大元の原因は僕じゃないか。僕を洗脳してまで従人を憎ませて従人には悪い噂を広めて何のために。そうか、クラーク卿、あなたは彼らが僕を憎むように仕向けたんだ。洗脳したアシェルが非道な行いをするよう操り従人から憎まれた頃に協力を申し出て利用する。この人たちは僕と同じだ。クラーク公爵にいいように踊らされてそれで罪人として殺されてしまうなんて間違ってる。
気が済んだか。なら刑を実行する。
待ってください。彼らは。
どんな理由でも罪状は同じだ。
そんな。
サミュエル。
はい。
お願いします。待ってください。彼らの命を奪うなんて間違ってる。彼らが罪人なら僕も罪を償うべきだ。そもそも僕が従人差別をしなければ。
過去の行いはクラークの洗脳によるものだ。教育係の立場を利用し幼い頃から薬を飲ませてお前を操ったのだ。
どういうこと？操られていたって。
なんで父上がそのことを。
お前に罪があるなら全て奴の罪だ。サミュエル、剣をよこせ。
はい。
子供をもてあそんでさぞ楽しかっただろうな。
あんな女との子などフレッド様への裏切りだ。心残りは王子を殺せなかったことだけ。私は死など怖くない。やっとフレッド様のもとへ行ける。
そうか。
そのペンダントは。そんな。嘘だ嘘だ嘘だ。
貴様を王家への反逆罪で北欧自らの手によって死刑に処する。
大丈夫ですか？
王族に歯向かう者がどうなるか見せしめの公開裁判だ。今後このような愚かなものを出さないために。それでもお前は私が間違っているというのか。
結局何もできない。いろんな希望を持たせただけ。何か行動しても悪い方が言ってしまった。何も行動しない自分を変えたいと思ったのに僕が何かしたところで何の意味もないんだ。幼かった僕に何ができたって言うんだ。どうして僕だけこんな目に。でもはい、間違っています。彼らだって好きであんなことをしたんじゃない。きっと少し前だったら諦めてた。こんな簡単に命を奪うなんておかしいです。そんな自分を変えたいならここで逃げたら絶対にダメだ。
てか、
そこまで言うならお前にも責任を取らせてやろう。従属は国外永久追放。お前の王位継承権も永久に剥奪する。
殿下、大丈夫ですか？
入れ。
従属を処刑せず済んでよかったですね。処刑したら暴動が起きたでしょうから。二言があっては王族の権威を疑われる。だから処刑だと思いましたが、そうしなかった。
望み通り罰を与えただけだ。
処刑していたらアシルの立場はさらに悪くなっていたでしょう。哀れな獣人たちを死に追いやった愚かな傀儡王子。悪評で使えない継承権なら剥奪しても問題ない。身を挺して獣人たちを救った姿は民の心を掴んだでしょ
う。何の話だ？なんだ、まだあるのか？
処刑の直前、クラークに何を見せたのですか？
フレッドの形見だ。
母上の？
フレッドの故郷では、愛しい者の絵姿を肌身離さず持ち歩く習慣があるらしい。ここには、我が愛しのアンジェラとある。フレッドの心は一度たりとも私を受け入れなかったが、初めて泣いて私に頼んだんだ。最後の時間は愛する人と過ごしたいと。
父上が叶えたのですね。なぜ周りに隠して？
次女と偽れば余計なしがらみもなく共に過ごせた。あの男も私も二人して同じ男を愛したゆえに実に愚かだ。もしこうなると分かっていたら、それでもきっと彼の願いを叶えずにはいられなかっただろうな。
あの時クラークには何を？
真実を伝えただけだ。お前のせいでフレッドは死後も苦しめられている。愚かな誤解で愛する女の息子を殺そうとしたお前をさぞ憎んでいるだろうな。
また父上に失望された。
本当は
外から話し声が。なんだろ
アンジェラ王妃が大変らしいぞ。さっきやっと落ち着いたって聞いたのに、継承権剥奪のことを知られたみたいで。
どこのバカが教えたんだよ。ちょっと様子を見に行ってくる。
母上が。
隠し通路を教えていただいたお礼を申し上げねば。おかげで無事に誘拐できました。
過保護な母上が僕を介するなんてありえない。でも、なんで会いに来てくれないのかな。
お前の王位継承権も永久に剥奪する。
役立たずの王子はもういらないのかも。疲れたな。従属の命は救えたけど、元は僕が操られたせい。許せないよね。きっとまだ恨まれてる。全部後手後手。全部間に合わない。何も追いつけない。僕は世界で一番いらない存在なのかも。誰からも本当に。
殿下。
セオドア。
顔色が悪いです。医者を。
行かないで。もう少し。セオドア、どうして目をそらすの？あ、もしかしてこの前のことを気にして。ごめん、つい一人になるのが怖くて。また僕のことばかり押し付けて、セオドアの気持ち考えてなかった。甘えてごめんね。
殿下はすぐに謝りますね。
なんか恥ずかしい姿見せられて。セオドアだって気まずいでしょ。
あの時、苦しむ殿下に浴場して自分のものにしようと。そんな私の方が恥ずかしい。今でもまだあなたを。なので二人きりでいる自信がないのです。お許しください。 王に立ち向かう姿に見惚れた。眩しく尊い人。あの時の殿下に、獣人たちが夢に見る、差別のない国の理想の王族の姿を見た。いつか獣人たちの希望を背負うであろう、かけがえのない人だ。そんな殿下に、俺は、大事な俺のつがい、手にしたらきっと手放せなくなる。一生腕の中に囲って、全て奪ってしまう。獣人の本能も香りもないなら、少しずつ距離を置けば、殿下の気持ちもいつか風化していくはず。俺が耐えればいい。俺は一生、あなたを陰ながら守っていく。
待て。
殿下。
それでもいいから、そばにいて、お願い。
この先は引き返せなくなります。それでも、よろしいのですか？せっかく諦めようと思ったのに。自分にも獣人の血が流れていたから、獣人の扱いがひどいあなたが大嫌いでした。襲撃から逃げたノトビスの森で香りに気づいて、庭園で血を見た瞬間、あなたがつがいだと確信した。つがいだからといって、好きになってたまるかと、あなたを突き放そうとした。
前にも嫌いだって言ってた。もしかして本当は今も、つがいだから逆らえないだけ。僕の勘違い。
そんな不安そうな顔しないでください。あなたは変わった。近くで見ていて分かったんです。つがいだからじゃない。私は、殿下が好きです。
僕も、セオドアが好き。セオドア。そんなに大事にしないで。本当は、僕ずるいんだ。つがいだから、僕を絶対に見捨てないって、こうして繋ぎ止めようとしてる。誰からも失望されて、一人になるのが怖いから。
あなたが、本当に一人になればいいのに。そうしたらどこか遠くに連れ去れるのに。平民で半獣の騎士と王子、身分差が大きすぎる。けれども、アジェル、これほど幸福感に満たされたことはない。もう、離れられない。この先何があってもそばにいる。ずっと。
転生しても嫌われ王子だったので、関係修復頑張ります。に。あれ、熱出してた。なんだろう、腰が。あ、僕、セオドアと。
アシェル様、熱は下がりましたか？お休みの間の報告です。従属たちは昨日、国外に追放されました。王妃やノア王子の見舞いもありましたが、殿下は熱にうなされお会いできず。
そう。
それでは。
いつも通り、まるで何もなかったみたいな。セオドア！あ、 セオドは顔真っ赤。
申し訳ありません。歯止めが効かず、殿下にご負担を。合わせる顔がない。
セオド
殿下。
好き。
私も同じ気持ちです。殿下のそばを一生離れません。いくつか問題もありますが。
戦や祭りごとの才能も王位継承権もない王族が国のために役に立つ手段といえば、僕は政略結婚で他国に嫁がされるの。厄介払い。
落ち着いてください。そんな話は一切出ていませんから。ただ今後忙しくなるのでお体を休めてください。失礼します。
ルイス、
ブランカ。
アシェル殿下は
先ほど目覚めた。
ならお前も休めよ。一晩中いたろ。
直属護衛騎士が殿下の近くにいて何が悪い？
ああ、興味ないって顔してたくせに。
なんだ急に。
別に、遊び人の勘ってやつ。サミュエル王子に気をつけろよ。アシェル様に手を出そうとした時に、ものすごい牽制された。
はぁ？
隠すつもりある？
何がだ？
無自覚？ダメだ。以前のお前と全然違うってこと。お互い火遊びじゃないんだろ。王族の婚姻は国王が決める。アシェル王子もいずれは。早めに諦めろ。傷が浅いうちに。
覚悟の上だ。やはりここを頼んでもいいか？すぐ戻る。
おい、ルイス！
言われなくても分かっているさ。だから離れようと決心したのに。もう手放せない。手に入れるためなら何でもする。王族の婚姻について調べなくては。王に認めさせるための手がかりを。
ノア、元気になってよかった。2日も寝込んで心配したよ。どこ行くの？母上に会いに。
ノアが見舞いに一緒に来いって。
ありがとう、ノア。もう大丈夫。
本当に大丈夫なのかよ。なんで従属を助けたんだ？急に聖人君子みたいに。まだノアが小さい頃、お前は乱暴でノアを目の敵にしてたよな。それも薬のせい？クラーク公爵が何のために？
それは。またひどいこと言って。ヒューゴ兄様なんか嫌いだ。
なんだよ、わがまま聞いてやったのに。もういい、勝手にしろ。
兄様。
ノアが嫌いって言ったんだろうが。だ
って
もう泣くなって。
ノアがもっと小さい頃。そうだ、あの時の僕は洗脳されてた間、感情は曖昧だったけど、兄上と仲いいのが羨ましくて、多分嫉妬してた。
そうかよ。嫌味で兄上と呼んでるんだと思ってた。
ヒューゴ兄上はあちらのお席に。え？
母親が平民だって会うたびバカにして、本心では俺を兄だと認めてないんだと思ってた。実験記録を見た。
幻覚や幻聴に苦しみ、苛立って情緒不安定。兄王子たちを気にして仲良くしたい素振りを見せている。姿を見かけるたびに見つめている。話しかけたい様子。
違ったんだな。今さら優しくしたりできねえよ。お前に兄上って呼ばれるの気持ち悪いし。
え？
ヒューゴでいい。別にお前だから嫌ってわけじゃねえし、急に兄上呼びとか慣れなくて変だろ。アシェル。
ありがとう。母上、失礼いたします。クラークの件、聞いたわ。はい。
あんな男を信用した私のせいで、お前の身を危険にさらした上に、王位継承権まで。
母上、継承権なんていらないんです。僕は王になりたくない。
アシュル、何をバカな。 お前を王にするために産んだのよ。王族の女の役目、世継ぎを誓ったの、フレッドと。なのに
母上、なぜ前王妃の名前が。
アンジェラ、
父上。
お前が誘拐されてからひどく不安定でな。お前の母は世継ぎを産むことを最優先事項として教え込まれて育った。自分の息子を王にすることに固執している。
前王妃との誓い、父上は何かご存知なのですか？
フレッドはアンジェラを愛していた。だが私がフレッドを妻にと望んだため、立場上断れず諦めたんだ。
母上のペンダントにジェフリー様。違う。アンジェラ、どうか忘れないで。フレッドって書いてある。この人が前王妃様。
フレッドとジェフリーは似ているんだ。フレッドが嫁ぐ前に送ったものらしい。
母上は
今も大事に持っている。それが答えだろう。
だから父上は初見の時クラークにありえないって。
クラークは誤解したようだが、フレッドが既得になった時、アンジェラを呼んだのは私だ。彼の最後の望みを叶えるために。
死にたくない。ずっと君のそばに。
バカね、これから一緒にいられるわ。
子供なんか産みたくない。世継ぎなんてどうでもいい。
何を言うの。次の王を産むのは誇り高きことよ。
俺は君の子供が欲しかった。君に似た天使のような。
フレッド、なんてこと。
君が世継ぎを産むんだ。誓ってよ、アンジェラ。世継ぎを産むため、第二王子との俺との結婚を断ったんだろう。そうでなければ、俺は何のために諦めたんだ。何のために今から死ぬ。どいてください。まずい、このままだと。
フレッド、誓うわ。だからフレッド。
死の間際の誓いにとらわれて、アンジェラはお前の王位に固執している。責任は私にもある。己のことに手一杯で彼女を追い込んだ。自分が知らず引き裂いた恋を見守ることしかできなかった。愛した人の死に際に必要とされず、失った後共に過ごすのは必要とされた相手。私は逃げたのだ。誰も私を知らないところに行きたくて。
そんな無茶な飲み方、体を壊すぞ。
あ、そこでフレッドと似ているジェフリーと出会った。妊娠したジェフリーの王族入りを請うと、腹の子の継承権破棄を条件にアンジェラは許した。しかし挨拶に来たジェフリーの顔を見て、
フレッド。
追い詰められて歪んだ。妊娠したアンジェラが自分の子を王太子にしろと言うまで、誓いを本気で守る気だと思わなかった。
僕を王太子にだなんて。
もちろんそんなことは許されない。だが後ろ盾の差から派閥争いが起きた。クラークが対立を煽ったのだろうな。それに未確定だが、アンジェラも操られていた可能性がある。クラークの記録にランダリムを使った自白薬があった。おそらくそれで隠し通路を。常軌を逸するほど不安定で感情的。薬で催眠状態だった。従属たちと同じ症状だ。中毒性はないらしいが。アシェル、私は我が子から目をそらし、何も気づけなかった愚かな父だ。アンジェラにもお前にも接し方がわからなかった。愛した男の愛した女。憎いわけではない。ただ悲しいだけ。愛する努力をしたが、
思いが返ってこないことに怯えて、もう誰かを愛するのは怖かった。我が子ですら愛し方がわからない。お前は何も悪くない。すべて私が招いたことなのに、すまなかった。
記憶が。いいなぁ、兄上たち楽しそう。僕も混ぜてくれないかな。父上にどうしたら褒めてもらえるんだろう。父上、どうしたら僕を見てくれますか。父上に抱っこしてほしい。でも、いつも怖い顔をしてる。無視したり、睨んだり。兄上たちは僕のことが嫌いなんだ。なんで僕だけのけ者にするの。同じ兄弟なのに、僕だけ。違うんです。僕は望んでない。父上、僕の話を聞いて。嫌わないで。僕の本当の気持ちは、誰か、助けて。
すまない。私は父としてふさわしくない。
僕は父上に愛されたかった。父上を愛してるから、謝罪よりも、ただ一言、愛してると言ってほしい。
苦しみに気づかず、救うこともできず、なぜお前がそこまで私を慕うのか理解できない。愛されたいと言われても、愛し方もわからない。だが、純粋に慕ってくる我が子を、どうして嫌うことができる。
アシュルさん。
セオドは、母上の代わりに父上と話せたよ。それで、思い出したことがあるんだ。城下町までついてきてもらえるかな。
アシェル様の瞳の色と同じ宝石のように澄んだ青糸で織った織物だ。
アシェル王子が誕生祭で口にしたうちの自慢のパイだ。今も時々お忍びで買いに来るパイだよ。
何これ。
公開裁判に感動して話を広げた者がいるようで、恩義を犠牲に従人を救った天使のような方だと町中が殿下を称えてるんです。見つかっては大変です。この道からって。
王室御用達フォールド食堂、誕生祭にてアシェル王子とノア王子、ヒューゴ王子がご来店。
うわ、大きな看板。
あの狐、人が集まっています。裏から入りましょう。
そうだね。人が倒れた。リリアンさん。なんであんたが。
とりあえず中へ。
リリアン姉さん、どうしたんですか。
手を止めない。客が待ってるでしょ。
はい。
寝室は上か。
聞いたわ、あんたの話。公爵に何をされてたのかも。だから不可抗力だったと言いに来たわけ？
違います。
なら今さら話すことなんて。
僕の次女だったあなたにお礼を言いに来ました。意志を奪われていても、あなたのことは覚えていた。残虐な行いの僕に仕えることを誰もが嫌がる中、あなただけが次女としてちゃんと尽くしてくれたから。本当はいつも感謝していました。
あの頃、アシェル様。お茶の時間の後に頻繁に寝込むから原因を調べたの。いつもランダリムを出した後だった。公爵から指定があったし、本人も好んでいて。でも私、城にあった分、すべて捨てたの。貴重な茶葉だって言ってたから、捨てればしばらく飲めなくなるって。なのにすぐにまた出されていて、とっさに止めようと。結局、私はあんたに何もしてない。ただ次女の仕事をこなしてただけで。
そんなこと、体調の変化に気づけるほど僕を見てくれてた。
リリアン、大丈夫か。なんで手なんか握って。いくら王子でも許さ。
誰を許さないだと。
なんだあの看板は。
おい、尻尾離せ！リリアン、腹の子は大丈夫か？
ちょっと、バラしてんじゃないわよ。
両思いになったんだ。そっか。よかった。
謝罪は受け入れない。でも、礼ぐらいは言わせてあげる。
ありがとうございます。
それじゃあ、次は食事もしていって。
ええ、ぜひ。リリアンさん、きっと幸せになれるよね。
つがいを幸せにするためなら何でもやりますよ。私もそうです。
セオドは今日もいない。僕の護衛以外の仕事もあるだろうけど、わがままかもしれない。セオドアがそばにいないと不安になってしまった。セオドア！ウォード。
なんかがっかりしてません？
してない！それよりどうしたの？
サミュエル王子がお呼びですよ。アシェル！久しぶりだな。
すみません。僕のせいで仕事を増やしてしまって。
お前のせいじゃないさ。来たところに悪いが、休養で少し出る。すぐ片付けるから、中で待っていてくれ。モードは手伝え。わかりました。
では、お待ちしてます。兄上の部屋、初めて入るの。何の音？全部、金髪壁眼の天使の絵だ。あの絵が倒れたのか。起こしておこう。よいしょ。この絵、もしかして僕、顔が切り刻まれて。
これは致命的な間違いがあって、もう捨てるんだ。もっと精密に描き直してもらわないと。本物はもっと美しい。どうしたアシェル？
転生しても嫌われ王子だったので、関係修復頑張ります。2。
どうした？何を怯えてる？
この絵は、僕ですか？なんであんな。
これはまがいものだ。アシェルに何一つ似ていない。今のアシェルを早急に描かせねば。すべてが完璧で、翼がないのが不思議だ。だが、翼の代わりに傷があるそうだな。医師から報告を受けた。
あの時の。
狼の獣人が無知でやったと森人から聞いた。死刑にすべきだが、王が減刑したなら従うしかない。その獣人だけはムロフスアに送ってやったよ。
ムロフスアは獣人狩りとひどい差別がある国。
お前を傷つけ、汚そうとした報いだ。アシェル。
兄上！
お前は天の使いだ。神に近い存在。お前を汚すなど、誰にも許されない。
話して！
失礼します。
何か用か、セオドア。
陛下より、本日から王家の食卓再開とのことです。
そうか。
殿下に何を？
何というのは？
僕、そろそろ失礼します。
殿下！殿下、大丈夫ですか？
ちょっと驚いて。
先ほどのあの部屋。
サムエル王子に気をつけろ。
なぜ今さら殿下に執着する？すみません。苦しかったですか？
うん。ありがとう。セオドアがそばにいてくれたら怖くない。
私は、殿下のためなら何でもします。
アシェル兄様、全員揃うのは久しぶりだね。ヒューゴ兄様もアシェル兄様が王家の食卓に来るか心配してたんだよ。ね。
呼び捨てでって言われたけど、さすがに公の場ではダメだよね。なんて呼べば。
アシェル兄様？
ノアと同じ兄様呼びなら。ありがとうございます。ヒューゴ兄様。やっぱり兄様もダメだったか。そもそも兄って呼ぶなってこと。じゃあ一体どうすれば。
ずいぶん親しげに呼ぶようになりましたね。
ジェフリー様。
ヒューゴのあの顔、照れてるんですよ。
聞こえてる！照れてない！
私もアシェルに兄様と呼ばれたいな。え？兄上だと堅苦しい。
サミュエル兄様。
それでいい？
何考えてるかわからない。怖い。
国王陛下、王妃殿下、ご到着でございます。
早く席に着かなくちゃ。でも、継承権がない場合、どう座れば。
アシェルはこちらに。せっかく王妃がいらしたのだ。隣に座りなさい。
兄上が隣か。気まずい。はい。
皆揃っての食事は久しいですね。アンジェラ王妃、体調が良くなられて安心しました。
何が言いたい？陛下のいる前で貶めたいのか？
いいえ、ただあなたを案じていたのです。
案じている？お前が、この私を？ぬけぬけと、継承権剥奪でさぞ喜んだのでしょう。だからといって、お前の息子に、平民の血筋に王位継承権を与えられは。
いい加減腹を割って話そうぜ。
なんて乱暴な。
お前が平民うるさいかららしくしたんだ。
陛下、こんなことよろしいのですか？
俺たちがこんなんだから、ちゃんと話し合っていれば起きなかったかもしれない事件だろ。アシェル王子がかわいそうだと思わねえのかよ。
穏やかで物静かなジェフリー様が、本当に同一人物。
大体さ、ヒューゴが王様？バカ言うなよ。誰が王になんてさせるか。そもそも、こんな脳筋バカがなれるわけねえし。
おい、息子に向かってなんてこと言いやがる。
ノアだって、こんなに愛らしくて可愛いんだ。のびのび育てて、幸せに暮らせるようにしてあげないと。王様なんかになったら、このアホみたいになっちまう。最初っから王位継承権なんて願い下げなんだよ。
陛下が、アホですって？
ジェフリー。
アホは言い過ぎた。悪い。とにかく、ただ純粋に心配したってこと。同じ母親なんだからさ。
確かに、生きた心地がしなかったわ。アシェルに何かあったら、私も死のうと。でも、平民に心配される言われはないわ。しかも、陛下を侮辱するなど。
アホはアホだろ。
身の程をわきまえなさい。
二人とも黙れ。
いいから言わせろよ。本心を話さないから疑っちまうんだろ。
うわ、カオスだ。
すまない。いつも澄ました顔の二人が、感情あらわに言い争うなど。
陛下。
良いではないか。ここには家族と王族に献身を誓った騎士しかいない。ジェフリーの言う通り、お互いに話し合わねば、あらぬ誤解を生む。私は今回のことでよくわかった。相手が何を思い、何を望んでいたのか。話し合わなければ一生知らなかった。アンジェラ、死んだ者に囚われ、翻弄されるのはもうやめよう。
陛下。
我々は語らう必要がある。少しずつでいい。好きになれとは言わない。まず、お互いを理解してくれ。私も努力する。
はい、陛下。
昔がどうであれ、愛とは違うのかもしれないけど、二人だけの絆は確かにあるんだ。
そういえば、アシェル、サミュエルから話は聞いたか？
え？
お前に婚約の話が殺到して、
なんで？
ほぼ男からだろ。美貌の王子がフリーになったら、嫁にしたい奴らが殺到するよな。
まあ、おおむねヒューゴの言う通りだな。
婚約って、心配してた通りに。僕は、誰とも、婚約したくはありません。
遅かれ早かれ、誰かと婚姻を結ぶのだ。それとも、好きな者でもいるのか？
もし、セオドアを好きだと答えたら、どうなるのだろう。
アシェルは誰とも結婚させません。アシェルは神殿に行かせましょう。巫女として扱われるべき存在です。
何をバカなことを！
では、他国に嫁がせますか？望まない婚姻で他国へ嫁いだ者がどうなるか、よくご存知でしょ？
それは。
パナーラの新官長に巫女の推薦文を送りました。完璧な美しさ、慈悲深い心、まさしく天使、尊ぶべき存在。たかが人間ごときがアシェルと婚姻だなんて、許されない冒涜だ。
ファナーラ神殿、国から独立した勢力を持ち、王族であろうと無下に扱えない治外法権。そんなところで、巫女は。
気でも狂ったの？アシェルから手を離しなさい！
至って正常ですよ。アシェル以上の存在などこの世にいない。私はアシェルを愛しています。
サミュエル兄上、やめ。
兄様、だろ？
どうしよ
う。殿下。
セオドア。
どういうつもりだ、セオドア。
アシェル殿下がお困りでしたので。
二人ともやめよ。サミュエルもバカな冗談はよせ。決めるのはアシェルだ。王族に婚姻は必須だ。この国の貴族となら他国に行く必要もない。すでに相手がいるならこの場で申してみよ
う。いいえ。どうしよう。セオドアの顔見れない。
すぐにという話ではないわ。安心なさい。
母上。
アシェル、ごめんなさい。自分勝手な考えであなたを危険な目に。母親失格だけど信じてほしいの。約束だけが理由で王位にこだわったわけじゃない。あなたを王にして誰より幸せになってほしかったから。だからあなたが望まぬ婚姻などさせないわ。神殿なんてもってのほか。なぜアシェルに固執する？
先ほど申し上げた通りですが、アシェル。神殿の巫女とし、何不自由ない暮らしを。
信用ならない。新官長とあなたはただならぬ仲と聞いているが。
ただの古い友人です。私はもともと信仰深いので。
とにかくどこにも行かせないわ。行きましょう、アシェル。
なんで兄上は僕を。
サミュエル王子に近づかないように気をつけてね。
はい。
殿下。部屋へ戻りますか？
もしあの時、セオドアが好きだって言えたら、操られてるわけでもないのに、本当の気持ちが言えない。
殿下。何でもありません。
やっぱり怒ってた。当然だ。好きな人はいないって言ったようなものじゃないか。セオドアを傷つけたくない。違うんだ。僕は。
殿下。
僕は、セオドアが。
殿下。ここでは少々。
必死で周りが見えてなかった。
いかがなさいましたか？
さっき、セオドアのこと言えなくてごめん。
致し方ありません。私は騎士とはいえ、平民ですから。殿下の立場は理解しています。
平民なんて関係ない。僕はセオドアが好き。なら、なんであの時言えなかったんだ。 他の人となんて結婚しないよ。もう、操られていないのに、声が出せたのに。
平民と王族が婚姻を結ぶことは、本来ならありえません、殿下。ジェフリー様はすでに、ヒューゴ王子を身ごもっていたため許された特例。それ以前は一度も認められていません。
分かっていたことなのに、セオドアから言われると、ひどく胸が痛む。そうだけど。
そんな顔しないでください。覚悟の上です。私が殿下を諦めようとした時に、触れることを許してくださった。だから、何があろうと殿下のそばにいます。
好きな人はいないと、目の前で自分の存在を否定されたら、自分以外と結婚するかもしれないとしたら、胸が苦しい。こんな思いを覚悟の上だと言わせてしまった。何もかも捨てて、セオドアと。
すまない。
すぐにという話ではないわ。安心なさい。
できない。何より大切で誰より好きなのに、僕は選べない。捨てられない。なんて、ずるい。絶対、セオドア以外と結婚なんてしない。
はい、殿下。
セオドアは、つがいは、僕のためなら何でもするって言った。たとえ誰かと結婚しても、責めることなくそばにいてくれる。僕が苦しまないよう、僕の幸せのために、何でも。僕はただ一人になるのが怖くて、自分のことだけ考えてた。
殿下。
セオドアは僕のこといっぱい考えてくれてたのに。この先の未来に僕だって覚悟を決める。本気だよ、セオドア。あの夜、セオドアが全てを覚悟して抱きしめてくれたように、僕も。だから、
失礼しました。
僕は真剣なんだから。それに、二人の時は敬語もやめて、名前も、アシルって呼んで。
アシェルがそう望むなら。勘違いしているようだが、俺はアシェルを誰にも触れさせないつもりだ。
え？
あの時言っただろ。この先は、引き返せなくなりますって。この足の傷、やはり悔やんでも悔やみきれない。
いや、もう大丈夫だから、そんなところにキスは。
俺が大丈夫じゃない。俺がしたのは、アシェルをもう手放さない覚悟だ。変な勘違いをよせ。誰かと結婚なんてさせない。もちろん、こういうことも。替えのシーツを取ってくる。
セオドアが好き。どうすればいいのかな。いつまで婚約を拒否できる。僕はセオドアと一緒にいたいだけなのに。
せーの、
アンジェンテ。
アンジェンテは好きが見つかる新しい BL ボイスコミックチャンネルです。この動画を好きと思ったらチャンネル登録、高評価ボタンをお願いします。
転生しても嫌われ王子だったので関係修復頑張ります2は全国の書店、電子ストアで大好評発売中。動画にはないシーンやセリフもありますので、ぜひそちらもチェックしてみてくださいね。
好きなものを好きなだけ、今日がちょっといい日になる。
そんな時間をあなたにお届けしていきます。アンジェンテの応援よろしくお願いします。
Like, yeah, I don't know. For example, like if Elon Musk would die or something, and not only in people like Elon Musk and stuff like that. And it's a really interesting concept that something as big as mentalizing, which is apparently that important for society, because I mean, they say it's basically like necessary to have like a secure attachment style in any type of relationship. And our relationship with society is also sort of like a relationship. It's like it's harder to define, right? Because it's not with one person, but there's definitely these attributes like in a relationship that you make the broad mass into a thing you feel a relationship with. So there's people who, for example, like very pessimistic towards the broad society and think very pessimistic about society. And every person they don't know essentially and turns into this blob of broad society. And all of them get treated like this ambiguous person of broad society. And then there's people who are very hopeful towards society or very positive towards society and who have a really more positive picture towards strangers then. And I feel like it's really interesting to see how something like fear, like broad fear can influence like an entire society in this way. And how we get influenced basically like nearly biologically by fear and anger and shame. To the point where our logic basically changes, right? Personally, I don't have empathy for the guy because of all the statements he made, but I can empathize with his family who mourn him. And I understand the critic where they now make a big deal out of it because he was part of a political party, but months before, when a whole family of the other party died, they just shrugged the shoulders and celebrated that. But that is a sad situation in America at the moment. I think no violent death should be celebrated, but that is probably because of view of justice. Well, I think you don't. I feel like empathy doesn't like, I don't expect anybody to so the point I'm trying to make is that actually by not celebrating him, and also if you're like more or less indifferent to him, I think that already sort of shows empathy, right? Because he did so much bad. Like, that's how I sort of think about it. Like, even though he did so much bad and he hurt so many people and influenced society in such a way, still sort of like having respect for his death and the causes it has towards his family and stuff like this, is empathy to me. But I don't know if that's just because I might be autistic, because empathy is hard for me. Like, empathy comes for me from a point of logic, more so. And yeah. So that's why I would technically already then say sort of like that's already empathy. Because it's like, I don't think empathy means forgetting everything the other person has done, right? Right? Like, empathy doesn't need to be naive, I think. Like, you can have empathy, but still, like, I don't know if that makes sense, but for example, with my dad, like, I don't have contact to him anymore. But I do have empathy with my dad because I really understand, like, I think I really understand his standpoint, I think, or his history, or himself. But this doesn't mean that I stay, sort of. Like, I still have no contact with him, and I think that's actually better for both of us. And while I do know that hurts him as well, I also do know that with me being there, he wasn't really happy, and that it's not really because of me, but because of like a heavy pattern he has. And I don't know. So I think these things can sort of like be there at the same time, you know? Like, I think you can have empathy with somebody and at the same time know that like what the person has done and like the consequences you then choose for yourself, or how you act around this, or how you what you then do, sort of will take both of these into account. And I think that's also sort of part of mentalizing, because it's like, yeah, it's like not only about the other person, but that you do see the other person. So I think it's not the concept that you only see the other person, you know, but that you see everything, sort of. And I also think that's really important. Like, I don't think we should, like, if somebody does something like really, really bad, and then something happens to them, I don't think if the best comeback to the situation would be to basically forget everything they have done and just have like full empathy, like if it were like a regular person experiencing something bad. Because it doesn't really have to do with the empathy in that moment, right? But with the proper response to that person. And that person is still themselves with what they have done. Does that make sense? Like, do you guys understand what I mean? Like, there's like how you act towards someone doesn't need to, like, I don't think it should be entirely based on empathy. Like, because I think only empathy for them is not representing reality. Does that make sense? I think a discussion of empathy is somewhat mood. What does that mean? I don't know that word. When people are getting fired and getting silenced for not mourning for that individual, there's a thing that's being used as a political tool. Very little room for empathy when there's a side that wants to suffocate you. Yeah. I think a discussion of empathy is really hard. I think it's really... I think this incident specifically, and also the reaction to how the influencer now is sort of like being treated after he like cried because that person died, is sort of like it shows a lot about our society. And I don't mean to like blame anyone directly or like judge anyone for their response. But I think what it does show is that we make judgments. Like, we're not curious, we make judgments. There's no, you know, like Charlie Kirk died, this person was meeting, like has met him in person before, and then this person talks about this incident and cries because that like starts crying, and basically like mourns the death of this person, and is saying sort of stuff along the lines like, yeah, he was a bad person, of course, but like this, like nobody deserves this. And then having a reaction like this is like really, I don't know, like there's also like the other reaction from like some right-wing people who then like say stuff like, oh, like he's gonna be like MAGA in a few months, like just wait for it. So there's also not really, so also that judgment then is also not really having empathy for him in that moment. And I do understand why people don't have empathy in that moment, right? Because like there are consequences people live through, especially in America right now, where these individuals specifically have sort of like directly hurt them, or like influenced their life and made it worse. And so it's like, I get it that this relieves, that this feels like karma, sort of. But at the same time, it's like sort of like really sad to see that there's so little curiosity and so little like space to talk about stuff, to actually be honest and genuine and talk about stuff and talk it out and listen to the end, sort of. Because I feel like we're very judgmental. And I also feel like that specifically, like, being judgmental is sort of like not mentalizing enough, no? Like, mentalizing is taking the other perspective into account, the other feelings, everything, whatever, taking your perspective, feelings into account, and then also being aware of that fact that there's like multiple standpoints. And that's why I think like mentalizing is sort of this like curiosity and awareness to actually get to the bottom of this and be aware that there might be like multiple stories going on and all of them can be true at the same time. Whereas being judgmental to me means that you just sort of make up a story for the other person, and you don't really like, there's no option anymore that this story might not be true, but you're so confident of that story that you already judge them based on that story as if that story were true, even though there's like there's no participation of the other person. Like, the other person never agreed that that story is true. And in most cases, it isn't true, but it's led by emotions. But you treat it as if it were true, as if it were the reality, the one and only reality, and then you judge the person based on that. And I feel like that's being done by like so many people right now. And that brings us back to basically the point I tried to make about this, that we need more mentalizing right now, and we don't have it because people fear so much and are angry so much. Like, there's so many negative news and all of this, and I think that's why we sort of like really struggle with mentalizing in the past few years, especially. And that's why, yeah, empathy is like getting hard and being judgmental is getting more easy. Mood. Having little or no practical relevance, typically because the subject is too uncertain to allow this. Ah, you say like mood or mood? Mood? Like, not mood, but mood. Do you say it like that? It probably is. It probably is. I would likely put it that way. No daughter or spouse should have to see her father, husband being killed. But I cannot in my own consciousness say that maybe the world is a better place without that person. That not just necessarily dead, fired, or taken out of this. Because I don't think the violent action celebrates. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's like, I don't know, like, to me, that's a reasonable response to this. To, at the same time, I don't think empathy needs to mean that you basically take on the responsibility to regulate the other person's emotions. Empathy to me only means that you understand them. So I think the moment you understand how this situation feels for them, it's like you're not gonna go around celebrate his death. But you're also not gonna like join right wing or something like this, you know? You're still gonna be for, like, for example, better gun laws and stuff like that. Probably especially because of that incident. Because like nobody should, yeah. because you believe that nobody should see this. And I feel like anyway, like this judgment of how much empathy or how little empathy someone can have is definitely like absolutely pointless, and like there should not, like, why you don't really need to make a judgment. So that's why I don't like, this is not like, I do understand that people want to be sort of like, that it can make people like fear it, that he's actually, yeah, not like left wing, for example. And now they're like supporting him, and then like at the end he turns out to be just like the other ones, sort of. But yeah, you should just like talk about it and be curious why, because I bet there's like an explanation for it. And like once you have the whole story, you can still like make a judgment whether you support him now or not. But there's just like, I don't know. You don't need to write a story for him. Yeah, exactly. And I think that is, for example, already mentalizing. So I think, for example, what I thought when I heard about this controversy is, and I think that's mentalizing, is, for example, that I thought whenever I like, also the way I just like talked about it is basically like all of this is basically mentalizing we do right now. It's like, for one, we talked about how this like the people who like make these statements about the influencer are maybe like, I literally like, I suggested basically like stories, like their internal stories. Like maybe they feel threatened that like another one of their supporters, like they supported now, is turning to the other side and is betraying them. So they feel like they're in a corner, they're unsafe, and that's how they sort of like act with this feeling of like unsafeness. And I don't really, yeah, I don't judge them for feeling so unsafe. Like I get it. If you're that unsafe, like I get it that it's like really hard to see somebody you like idolized as like your left-wing soldier or whatever cry about a right-wing person like that and show so much emotion, especially if you yourself can't really emphasize with that, right? But I also think that for him, for example, for the influencer himself, he's got, I don't remember his name. I can like try to look it up. His name is Dean something. Dean Withers. So for him, for example, what I see and why I think like I won't cry over Charlie Kirk, but it doesn't mean that his feelings are not valid. So for example, what I thought to myself was that, well, he has actually seen him in person. Like he has talked to that guy in person and had like, I think like multiple events actually where he like argued against him and had these like huge discussions and stuff like this. And I think that's also like really different, right? Like it's different to like know somebody died you don't know. Like for me, for example, like Charlie Kirk is like this person who said that this stuff, but I'm not really involved in anything he does or anything. Like I'm not really involved enough to feel this sense of connection that I would mourn for him. Versus Dean Withers, maybe because he like knew him in person, and even though they were like politically on like very different sides, and I'm sure that Dean is maybe probably, yeah, I don't know what he's thinking, but like I think that even if you're on like politically different sides, and even if you think you're like a person is like bad, for example, with my dad, like I know that's like a stretch, but my dad did like many different things, and like I definitely hate him for some of those things. But I also see how my dad kind of like he's good at heart, but he's like really, really troubled to the point where he's willingly hurting everyone around him. And not in like a harmful way, but in the most hurtful way sometimes he can possibly think of. And so some of these things I absolutely hate him for, and I will never forgive him for them. But if he were to die now and I would be made aware of it, I think maybe I would cry. Like, I don't know it, but I think it could be. Even though I don't have contact to him anymore, even though I don't really care about him right now, like he could be dead already. I don't know. And I don't cry because of that. But like once I am made aware of it, I think I would cry. And I don't think that's like unlogical, right? I don't think that's unreasonable. Like even though I hate him for some things, to then like cry over a person you knew, like how also like it sort of also depends on like how sensitive of a person you are, right? For example, there was like a neighbor of my dad's who was like really old and who sometimes gave me like €5 or something. And I didn't have much contact to him. Really, I don't. But when he died and I was on a funeral, I really I couldn't help myself. I was crying so much. And that's not only because of him, right? But that's also because of just being reminded that a life is ending. Being reminded yet that you're mortal and all the people you love are mortal. Being reminded that this is gonna happen for you someday. And that this could happen to anyone you know at any given point, basically. Like there's so much more to someone dying than just them dying. Even though I know this sort of like seems bad, but like you know what I mean? Like there's more to being confronted with the fact of death than that person. Like it's bigger than that person. So I think that there's definitely like more explanations to Dean Withers, no idea, like crying over Charlie Kirk than him not actually being left but being right wing. And I think this frustration maybe that some people have that he didn't cry over Palestinians is a fact which they could have talked about but didn't before, and now it comes out, sort of. The frustration then sort of, I guess, got bigger that he now cried over like somebody they don't really believe in, or like believe that that person should be cried about. But it's like still like that person didn't meet the Palestinians. And it's empathy is like I feel like empathy has really a lot to do with seeing someone as a person, actually. And I think seeing someone on screen, even though you know that's people, is not giving you the same connection as seeing them in person. And I feel like these fears they have, maybe, that he's maybe more right-wing than left-wing, or that he might move over, or that he's like too easy on them, or whatever. Like these feelings are also valid, right? Like you don't need to make a judgment. You can still like you can have these feelings and then just sort of like ask, like, hey, why did you cry about Charlie Kirk but not about Palestinians? Like, and you can voice this fear in a vulnerable way, and probably he's gonna give you an answer to it, and probably that answer is gonna make sense as well. But yeah, there's no no space for curiosity, I think. I think I can somehow bring that argument with my work. There were a lot of patients I knew only 5 years, which in comparison is pretty much nothing to their kids, as family members, but that will not stop me from grieving a person I kind of build a relationship with, even if it's work related. Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's it's really funny actually how weird empathy is sometimes. Because you can cry about a person in a movie and you just known them for an hour and they're not even real. And then some other people you hear about their lives on like Instagram maybe. And have followed for like ages or whatever, and here they're dead, then you don't cry. And it's like not I don't think we should make a judgment about ourselves in that moment. I think we can be curious in that moment to find out why, maybe. Because, yeah, there's definitely something behind that. But it doesn't need to be that you're a bad person or that you actually didn't like them or whatever. It can just be a whole lot of context. But it could be that you didn't like them the entire time and you just never like unfollowed them. And that would be also interesting to know, right? But I think that we need to be curious about these feelings instead of instantly judging them. Because feelings can just be started by like so many different things. Like they can come from so many different things and be influenced by so many different things. So I think we shouldn't treat them as like, oh, this easy, direct, logical explanation. Like, oh, you cried for this person, not for that person. You hated them and you didn't hate them. And that's like, we treat them too easily. Like they're not complex. Like they're not really complicated to understand. And we should be more curious about this. But yeah. But it's sort of like how I think about this controversy. And I think it's such a important approach to whenever you want to inform yourself about something or whenever you are basically making a judgment or whatever, to take a second to actually think how much sense that makes. Like if there's maybe not a different explanation, to just sort of like put in that extra effort to like mentalize instead of making like a definite judgment instantly. And I feel like a lot of times we're so busy with being in our own reality and projecting our reality on everybody else that we don't even see the possibility that it might just be wrong. And I've had situations where like honestly it seemed so obvious to me what would be true, and then just something absolutely out of context came in and changed the whole situation. Because I felt like, oh, that person, when they walked past me, they did like this disgusted face and like such a dick. Like he's probably, I don't know, whatever, like making all of these assumptions and like making a judgment. But maybe he just like in that second like watched past me and saw like a dog shit on the street or something. Like, you know, like sometimes it's so out of context that you just can't expect it, and you just won't know. And I think that's so beautiful and at the same time confusing. But yeah, like so many times it's just not as bad as we think. So let's continue on with the video actually. Everybody around.